Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Inshallah, we are continuing with Surah A'la. We have completed the first three ayat. Now we will go to ayah number 4. وَالَّذِي أَخْرَجَ الْمَرْعَى. In the previous ayahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Tawheed. The affirmation of Tawheed is happening. سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى. Glorify the name of your Lord the Most High. And we talked about how one needs to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are the boundaries, some of the boundaries that we mentioned. If one was to transgress, then the glorification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't been done to the required standard. Either that's giving some of the attributes to the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like alim al-ghayb, calling Rasul salam alim al-ghayb, or going to magician and things like that and trusting them that they know what someone has done on you, kind of thing. So these are all some sort of attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been given to His creation. This is some form of deviation concerning the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His attributes. Of them is creating your own names, like Ya Buduh and so on. Of them is that you call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a part of His attribute, like Ya Mudhil, or you only believe in some sort of attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then you ignore the other, like Ya Kareem, Ya Ghaffar, Ya Rahim, and then you continue your sins and things like that. And others that we have mentioned, but these were some. And then later on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the reasons, الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى, that these are some of the proofs that one needs to take to account and one needs to ponder over. Then you will come to this realization that yes, indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who you glorify, the one you declare is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Most High. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from everyone needs. الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى وَالَّذِي. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything, خَالِقْ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ هُوَ اللَّهِ, then does He need anyone? Does He need any source of help, any source of partners, anyone to help Him out in whatever He needs to do? So this, the attributes that we give to people, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we give to people, so we go for assistance, we ask for this and that from the people, instead of asking the people of the graves or trusting these, what they call it, these omens that happens, like something bad is going to happen to me, or this thing happened in my life, or this lady got married in our house, now our entire house is like, it's not doing well, or this thing happened, or that thing happened, and we have built a new house, we need to have put like a horseshoe on it, and things like that, all these things. So instead of you giving the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do these things and these people, you will turn to Allah subhanahu, because you know He is the creator of all, meaning He has the full power over all of them. Then later on, which we are going to learn, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the knowledge of everything as well. إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. So, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the knowledge of everything, so everything is in His total control. So you do not need to ask for anyone's assistance beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you need to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can help you out. He knows everything. He has the full knowledge of everything. What you need, if it's good for you, Allah will give. If it's not good for you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give. And whether it's going to be better for you in this dunya, or that will be kept for you in akhirah, and so many things that apply. So once we have believed in this, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be truly given to Allah. So you will be able to say, سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى سُبْحَانَ رَبِّيَ الْأَعْلَى. You will not lower down the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that fashion, you have believed in Tawheed. In that fashion, you will be able to understand Quran, and in that fashion, you will be able to go to Jannah with ease, because you haven't done any shirk. Because it all comes to that same form. You haven't done any shirk. You have lived under the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have understood the instruction and the syllabus that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent for your life, and you have lived under it. So this all comes to those same points. But continuing with ayah Number 4, which is part of the previous ayats where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us further proofs. So in the previous ayats, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the blessings that He has given for our physical and our intellectual. Now in here is the provision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for us. وَالَّذِي أَخْرَجَ الْمَرْعَى, and who brings out the pasture. So as we said, those were related to our structure, our body, our internal mechanism. Now in here is the provision that Allah has provided for our survival. So you are not left without sustenance or means of sustenance. Is talking to the people whose entire livelihood is on animals. So this, if those things remain, they will be able to survive. Otherwise they will be famine, they will have lots of issues. And in Tafheem al-Quran, the Shaykh says al-mar'a in here, even though it means that it is fodder for animals, meaning this pasture. But in the context that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here, does not apply merely to fodder, but every kind of vegetation that grows out of the soil. Also, from another angle, as we are informed through various narrations, that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as well as all the other prophets, they were shepherds at the early stage when they were young, before the Nabuwa. They were shepherds basically, and they did work with the sheep. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has trained them with these sheep. So because the example of the sheep are similar to the humans, the shepherd needs to show mercy, needs to show compassion, needs to be patient with these animals. Now, in those same animals, they will be stubborn. There will those animals who will not listen to the instruction. There will be those who will go beyond their flocks for food and things like that. And other animals will attack them and cause them damage and so on. Or they might go to a cliff where they're really going to fall off. So the shepherd needs to make sure that these things are protected from predators as well as from their own self-harm. So Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in that fashion, if you take it, so this Rasul is your shepherd basically, and your benefits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought out, meaning this pasture, is the Quran, Wahi and Nabuwa that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam for you to graze on. You should benefit from it. You should have naturally consumed it. Like have an animal, when it's angry, it will go straight to the this pasture and this fodder to eat from. Similar should have been you. This should be your natural instinct. The next ayah, which is coming later on, indicates that this was a limited opportunity, which comes in the وَالَّذِي خَرَجَ الْمَرْعَى فَجَعَلَهُ غُثَاءً نَحْوًا. You should have taken advantage of it. Like how this pasture which expires will become black and then it goes off and it finishes. Similarly, the information and these benefits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given for you is limited time that will benefit you. If you continuously ignore it, you continuously remain in your sin, in your filth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will stamp your heart. ختم الله على قلوبهم أو على قلوبنا قفالها. Allah will put locks or put stamp on your heart, and that will be it. Even though the wahi will be there, the Quran will be there, but it will not benefit you. You will consider it in هذا إلا ساطر, like stories and fairy tales. Oh, it's talking about the previous people, it doesn't have to do anything with me, or I am this and this and so on. You will be living in your fairy tale life. You will be completely away from the Quran, or you will be completely misguided basically if you do not take benefit from it. Like how the pasture expires and then is taken away by either, like you see on mountains, if there are this trees and things comes out and then later on it becomes dry and the wind comes and takes it away. Similarly, this will be taken away from you. You will not be able to benefit from. That will lead us to the next ayah. فَجَعَلَهُ غُثَاءً أَحْوَى, and makes it black stubble. Like we mentioned, on the mountains we have these plants that grow. After some time they become dry and fly away, and the mountains etc. they are left empty from the plants. Or other plants that are by water sides, you will be able to see that if you live near the river or something like that. They are green and beautiful, but for a while they will become black in color and expire, even the smells as well. Or some ulama gives example of a river. You see, when there are no floods, or like the river is dried for a while, and then the water comes after rain and things like that, or after hot weather when the mountain, those ice melt, the water comes and you see the things that the black stubble and the rubbish that is at the front. This is the thing that is talking about, this is ghutha and ahwa. This is what is talking about. And this is one way of understanding. We'll do the other way later on. So how this point is linked to the theme of the surah, which is the tazheed min dunya, from it as well, that disattachment to dunya. How these plants and pasture are given life, and then after some time are removed, same thing will happen to you. This is the reality of your dunya. How lush and beautiful it was, and how useless it became at the end. You will not remain in this dunya forever. Do not make this as your goal. You have another higher goal. The one who creates you, is to him you will return. Like we say, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And the dunya reality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in a different place as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا مَثَلُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَاءٍ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ مما يأكل الناس والأنعام حتى إذا أخذت الأرض زخرفها وزينت وظن أهلها أنهم قادرون عليها أتاها أمرنا ليلا أو نهارا فجعلناها حصيدا كأن لم تغن بالأمس كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يتفكرون. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives example of this dunya, the enjoyment in it, and how quickly the end of it comes. Now I'm not reading the entire translation, but just the summary of it. How beautiful the land comes when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down rain. People put the seeds and things like that, the vegetation comes out, the animals take benefit, and it's ready to be harvested. But some sort of calamity comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people cannot now harvest, and everything is completely destroyed. This is the example of this dunya, or a person's life. Basically, you have lots of hopes and desires and plans and things that you want to do. Certainly some sort of illness comes in, or you have some sort of accident, everything is completely gone. You can't do anything about it. I'll give you an example of a person that I know personally. He was a hard worker. He didn't spend on himself. He gathered money from a job which is not well paid. So he worked long hours, he got less paid. So what he did, basically, he gathered money after money. He used to work double job, I heard from people. And he bought a house which is proper expensive in UK in comparison to other lands. So he bought a house, he bought his family from this other nation. And this happened very recently. And then he went like on a holiday or things like that to some different land, and he had an accident. Died. All that effort, all those things that he did not even take good benefit from it. He still had lots of cash, he still had this house, his family recently came, he didn't take any benefit. All his hopes, all his plans and things that he had, all were gone in this little incident. Same is the case of our dunya. Same is the case of our situation. Those hopes and these desires that we have for the things that we are. I'm not saying this guy went against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala I don't know about his life. Whatever he did. But this is basically the situation of, you know, people like this. That they had so many things going for them. They had so many plans. They went through so many struggles. They did so many things. And at the end, they didn't take any benefit out of it. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed, it happened on them. So basically what we're learning, our heart shouldn't be attached to these worldly, materialistic things. It will not benefit. It can come to an end suddenly. Or like we know from businesses, plans and things like that, something major, we have so many plans, so many things, so many expectation of things happen. Suddenly a company go bankrupt, something big happens, everything is gone. So this world is not where we should put our entire focus on. This is not what we should be attached to. It's never going, no matter who they are, whether they're kings or whatever amount of money or fame or things that they have, they will always have something that they want to achieve. This dunya will never make you happy. You will never have 100% satisfaction. So do not put your 100% to it either. Put your 100% on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on akhirah. Work towards Allah. Get away from this. And this is the sole reason for one not obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for one going against the Quran, for one completely ignoring and losing akhirah because of this very love. You have, for example, you want to build a house, or you want to have a factory, but you earning few £100 a month, or you're not going to be able to save so much, so you need to now use interest. You need to go to businesses which pay you more, no matter whether it's halal or haram. You need to start doing some sort of crimes in order to get the money quickly. So all that adds up to you completely destroying your akhirah and prioritizing this dunya. This dunya does not benefit you, and you have lost akhirah as well. So one becomes from those people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, destruction comes in this dunya as well as in akhirah. May Allah protect us. May Allah safeguard us from that situation. Now another aspect of this ayah, some ulama translate this as not black stubble. They say that what this means, they use Arabic language to come to this conclusion, which has a beautiful point as well, and we'll mention that. So they say that these plants who are being lush, intertwined, they're like dense, completely going into each other. And because of the fertility of the land, it has grown like there's lots of greenish, and they completely lush and beautiful. And this has been narrated by Imam Farra, which is a giant of language, this view, and as well as Dr. Rahman mentions, and Amin Ahsan Aslahi has mentioned in his book. So this is what it means. So they will translate this ayah. One should Sabbih isma rabbika al-a'la. One should glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who brings forth vegetation in the form of delicate stem stalks and then makes them luxuriant and blackish green. So instead of being it expired and becomes useless, they change it to being beautiful, being lush, being dense. Because of his greenness, extreme greenness, they look black. So that's why it says فَجَعَلَهُ غُثَاءً نَحْوًا. So this understanding of it will be linked to the last ayah of Surah Tariq, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to wait a while. فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمِهِلُهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. Either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send you more Quran, and they will be guided by hearing more and more evidences, or the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become heavy on them, or it is from the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He does things in a gradual, in a sequence, step by step. Same thing is happening in this surah as well, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the creation of human being, their physical and spiritual, their functionality, as well as the sustenance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided. It happens in a gradual stage, in a step-by-step way. So ensure, O Prophet, your da'wah has just started, and slowly but surely it will reach its full potential. Like how وَالَّذِي أَخْرَجَ الْمَرْعَى, this pasture which comes out, and then in the next ayah we said فَجَعَلَهُ غُثَاءً نَحْوًا. It reaches its full potential, it becomes dense, it becomes intertwined, it becomes beautiful. Because of his greenness, it looks black. So it will reach its full potential, but slowly, like how these plants reach its full potential in a slow manner. Similarly, like it has a step by step, same thing will happen to your da'wah as well. سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى. We will make you recite and you will not forget. Like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had planned for all humanity, similarly He has planned for you. Like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is best at what time for all His creation, similarly He knows for you too. Allah will make sure that these plans come through. And another Shaykh in Tafseer Haqqani, he mentions in this that what is this فَقَالَ سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَ. What does he mean? It means, one of his view is that after death you will be able to read your a'mal, the book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, and you will know basically, nothing will be forgotten from your memory. Everything will be there, presented like what you did, you will have that, will be shown to you. إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ, which is coming in the next ayah. But that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away because of your good deeds, that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove because of your istighfar from your a'mal and things like that, or whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hides according to His own wisdom from your a'mal, from your good deed book. Otherwise you will be able to read your deed book and you will not be able to disremember. There will be nothing forgotten in your memory as well. You will be able to read and you will be able to recognize. So this is, he relates that to the condition that's happening on Qiyamah. But that's a very rare, and this is like very small opinion that I have seen. But it does make sense, and it is related to other surahs that we have done. But however, in here we're talking about a different aspect, which is the Quran. Now when we link it to that is talking to Rasulullah, is talking about the Quran, this has been mentioned, I think we already mentioned this in our introduction, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the attitude of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam when the wahi was coming. Like in one place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, وَلَا تَعْجَلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مِنْ قَبْلِ يُقْضَى عَلَيْكَ وَحْيُهُ وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. And O Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, do not hasten with the Quran before its revelation is completed to you, and say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. In a different place, لا تحرك به لسانك تعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه. Move not your tongue with it, to hasten with it. Indeed, upon us is its collection and its recitation. In order for us to understand this, look at our own example. Those who are students or who has seen students or your teacher. You see, it's from the attitude of a student who value the education, that they work hard on the lessons, try to understand and absorb as much information as they can, so they can be given the next task. More can be opened on them basically. Similarly, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam was eager. He valued this Quran more than you and me can ever imagine. Like the love of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam that he had with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that during the day he used to see so many afflictions and so many hostility from the criminals, and during the night he used to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like it comes in a hadith, to a certain stage that his feet used to have cracks in it. Okay, so that's how much he, during the day, his was one to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one way, during the night in another fashion. So that's how much he had loved. So similarly, the love and the value that he had for the Quran was on a different level. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him tasalli. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him comfort in this ayah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you recite and you will never forget. And linking it with the theme that's going in the surah, this gradual way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing things, step by step. Similarly, Quran will come to you, O Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fully. It will come bit by bit. Okay, when the 23 years that it took, or 22 and so many months that some ulama mentions, that how long it took, but the Quran did come and you will never forget anything from it. Similarly, a person who understands the Quran, a mu'ahid who learns tawheed from Quran, no matter what kind of darknesses they are put in, this Quran will always be a light for them. They will use this Quran in those darknesses, those filth and those fitnas to come out from it. That will be their guide, because they have understood the Quran. And the Quran will never let them down. سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى. You will never forget how to come out from the darknesses to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you hold on to Quran, if you're true to Quran, Quran will never let you down. Going to ayah number 7. إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. Except what Allah should will, indeed He knows what is declared and what is hidden. Here we learn a few things. One is that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that it's not under your efforts, but with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that things happen. You would want something, or dislike others, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do whatever He pleases. Even you couldn't wish or want something before Allah will. So it is under the total control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing will happen because you want it, you wish, but what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want. So this is a tawheed that we believed in. That Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam as well as all other creation are in total need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will wish will happen, not because of His servants' desires or wish or whatever they need. It is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And some people use this to say that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam forgot some of the ayat and things like that, but that is according to my research and so many ayats of the Quran, it is not a right way of understanding the Quran, because it causes a bit of a problem. If Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to forget something, that because it's related to our brain, it relates to the memory of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then it causes problems. It causes issue with the way the Quran came in. It causes doubts in one's heart. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam forget anything. And this ayah we will use to confirm this view. And same thing happens in different places. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَمْ يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا فَإِن يَشَإِ اللَّهُ يَخْتِمْ عَلَى قَلْبِكَ. Or do they say, he has invented about Allah a lie? But if Allah will, He could seal your heart. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could seal a heart of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even this idea that Allah will do that, it will cause us, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done this. If one believes in this fashion, they fall out of Islam. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will never lie, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never put a stamp on Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam heart, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen him. He is the prophet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not choose someone that He will a prophet of Allah that he will be misguided or who will get corrupted later on. It is not from the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's not possible. So like here, فَإِن يَشَإِ اللَّهُ, here the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been mentioned, but it is to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable, but it is not to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do it. Like similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forget, it is under His control, but Allah will not do it. So like in here is another perspective, like it is now the Mashiach of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will not forget. This is the way that some ulama use it, that illa masha, now it is the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will never forget. So this is like the guarantee that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Same thing happens in a different place. Completely beautiful, it links to this ayah, has been mentioned in a different place. وَلَئِن شِئْنَا لَنَذْهَبَنَّ بِالَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ ثُمَّ لَا تَجِدُ لَكَ بِهِ عَلَيْنَا وَكِيلًا. And if you would, we could surely do away with that which we reveal to you. Meaning take away the Quran from you, this wahi from you. Then you will not find for yourself concerning it an advocate against it. You will not be able to do anything. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do this? Did the Quran was taken away from us? No. Did Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam forget anything? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not cause any problem in the memory of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And a similar statement has come in different places where Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam talks about if something was possible, then that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have done it. For example, قُلْ إِن كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدٌ فَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْعَابِدِينَ. Say, O Muhammad, if the most merciful had a son, then I would be the first of his worshipper. Meaning, I would have worshipped that. Meaning, did Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did that? No, it's not possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't allowed that. So see, like Allah subhanahu does not have a son, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not will forget Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam the Quran. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to give, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. But as we mentioned again and again, everything is in total control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah does not want you to know the Quran, no matter what you do, you won't be able to memorize it. He can take away all the abilities that He has bestowed upon you. So it is a total control, and you are totally in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And same thing has been mentioned by Ubaidullah Sindi rahimahullah, where he mentions with regards to the ultimate power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He can make you forget or do whatever He wants, but He won't make you forget. And he mentions, or he links this another way of understanding, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, like He's إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. He links that with the previous illa masha'Allah, that He knows that from the capabilities of your ummah, how much these people will take that surah with you, and how much benefit they will take, and how much will take the generation that later comes on. So it will become less, like very people, what the Sahaba did and what we have done, we know. Similar thing has been mentioned in Tafseer, Tafheem al-Quran, where he says to Nir Isfin, do not worry as to how you will remember word for word the Quran that is being revealed to you. It is for us to preserve it in your memory, and its preservation is not in any way the result of any excellence in you, but the result of our bounty and favor. Otherwise, if we would, we can cause you to forget it. So what does he basically showing? The complete power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the complete need of all His creation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This masala that comes in this ayah, which I think we hinted earlier, is this nasikh and mansukh. What is this? Is they say the mansukh are the ulama that I was listening to, is related to things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abolished from the previous nations. They had something which were halal or haram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed that ruling in this Quran because of whatever they did, or they made it from themselves, whatever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed that ruling completely. And in the Quran, another thing happens, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eases a mas'ala. Allah changes, not completely, but there is some sort of easiness in the mas'ala, even though the other ayats are still applied. For example, in Surah Tawbah, I think, the mas'ala of fighting, where there are 10 people and you are alone, you should be still fighting, you shouldn't be running away. This was the initial stage, and then it changes to 2. So this changed from 1 versus 10 to 1 versus 2 now. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy. So this is like مَا نَنْسِخْ مِنْ آيَةٍ أَوْ نُنْسِهَا نَأْتِ بِخَيْرٍ مِنْهَا أَوْ مِثْلِهَا. So this is what it applies to. However, those people, or the hadith which claims that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam completely forgot some portion of ayahs that are revealed, this is not acceptable. It goes against the Quran, and it goes against the honor of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not cause any damage in the memory of a prophet. In short, what we can say with illa ma sha Allah is that glory belongs to Allah. Sabbih isma rabbika al-a'la. Not to the humans, not to the prophets, not to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, not to the memory of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If anything is anything, or anyone is anyone, it's only because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has allowed it. Sabbih isma rabbika al-a'la. Now the next point, which is innahu ya'lamu al-jahra wa ma yakhfa. He knows that which is declared and which is hidden. Although the words are general, and they mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, whether it is open or hidden, yet in the context in which they occur, they seem to mean, O Prophet, your reciting the Quran along with Jibreel alayhi salam is known to Allah, and your fear for which you do so is also known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being assured that he will not forget it. He knows everything. Behind the scenes, you see sometimes people comes and they will ask you questions, and they have some sort of agenda behind. You don't know their agenda, why they have come, what is their reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. Whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran at that time to clarify and give the answers or not, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows better. He knows innahu ya'lamu al-jahra wa ma yakhfa. And same thing, that these people, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of all your worries, all your concerns. He is aware of your prayers. He is aware of all your ibadats. He is also aware of the pranks and the hostility of these criminals. When everything is in his knowledge and he also possesses power and authority, the Prophet ﷺ should rest assured that he will be provided whatever helps he needs. إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. This subject is mentioned in a different place as well in Surah Taha. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا وَمَا تَحْتَ الثَّرَى وَإِن تَجْهَرْ بِالْقَوْلِ فَإِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ السَّرَّ وَأَخْفَى. To him belongs what is in the heaven, what is on the earth, and what is between them and what is under the soil. And if you speak loud, then indeed he knows the secret and what is even and what is hidden, more hidden. So this, as we mentioned, إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى has been, the tafsir of it has been given in here. But also this could include to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is in the past, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened on Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ السِّرَّ وَأَخْفَى, which is in the future, which relates to Qiyamah, which relates to other things. Its complete knowledge is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you should rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically for all your needs. Whatever you need, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, we will stop here now. We will start from Ayah 8 in the next lesson. Wallahu a'lam. May Allah forgive our shortcomings and accept the goods from us. Jazakallah khair for listening. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.